streetcars originally operated in Atlanta downtown and into the surrounding areas from 1871 until the final line's closure in 1949. The first such transportation began with horsecars in 1871, and electric streetcar service started in the 1880s. In addition to streetcars in Atlanta proper, there were also interurban railways from Atlanta to outlying towns. The last streetcar service on the old network ended in 1949. The streetcar system was quickly replaced by a trolleybus system and with buses. After decades of planning, construction of a new streetcar system, the Atlanta streetcar, began in early 2012. Consisting initially of a single route, this new streetcar line opened in December 2014. Planning for a larger network, including on an abandoned loop of in-town rail tracks now known as the Beltline, is underway. Streetcars 1871 to 1949. Timeline and streetcar operators 1871. Richard Peters and Georgia Dare run the first streetcars on the Atlanta Street Railway. Service to West End 1872. West End and AMP Atlanta Street Railroad Co. formed. Service to West End and Westview Cemetery 1878. Adair sells out to Peters. 1879. Gate City Street Railroad Co. formed. Service to Angier Springs and Ponce de Leon Springs. 1882. Metropolitan Street Railroad Co. formed. Lines to the Confederate Soldiers' Home near Ormwood Park and to Decatur. 1883. Fulton County Street Railroad Co. formed. Lines would include the 9 Mile Circle. 1886. Joel Hurt forms the Atlanta and AMP Edgewood Street Railroad Co. Service out Edgewood Avenue to Hilliard and Highland and to Inman Park. 1889. Hurt Streetcar, Atlanta's first electric line, begins to run between Five Points and Inman Park, and control of Peters Company passed to son Edward C. Peters. Fulton County Streetcar Co. begins its 9 Mile Circle line to what is now Virginia Highland, powered by the electric Thomson-Houston system. 1890. Atlanta, West End and AMP McPherson Barracks Rye Co. begins, powered by the electric Sprague system. 1891. Law passed requiring segregation on streetcars as much as practicable, and at the enforcement of streetcar conductors. Prior to this, it was common for black and white passengers to sit next to each other on streetcars. 1891. Atlanta Consolidated Street Railway Company formed, instigating the Second Battle of Atlanta. 1892. Atlanta City Street Railway Co. begins, powered by the electric Detroit system. 1902. All street railways consolidated as Georgia Railway and Power Company. 1916. Atlanta Transit strike of 1916 began at 6 p.m. on Saturday, September 30th and ended that Monday evening, but the strike started after sundown those 3 days, so the city wasn't completely paralyzed. 1924. The Beeler Report issued to advise the financially ailing company. 1926. Peak of passenger service. 1937. Trackless trolleys introduced. 1949. Georgia Power runs its last streetcar on the River Line to Riverside, leaving only trackless trolleys and buses. Routes from 1889 to 1901. The famed 9 Mile Circle line ran from downtown Atlanta to Ponce de Leon Springs and what is now Virginia Highland. In 1924, Georgia Power operated the following streetcar lines: 1. Decatur Street, Marietta Street, 2. Ponce de Leon Westview, 3. Boulevard West Hunter, 4. Inman Park Georgia Avenue, 5. Highland South Pryor, 6. Forest Capitol, 7. West Peachtree East Hunter, 8. Howell Mill Road East Fair, 10. Peachtree Whitehall, 11. Lucky Woodward, 12. Copper Pine, 13 Irwin West Fair Street, 14 Ormond Magnolia Street, 15 Piedmont, Washington, 16 Pine Street, 17 Main Decatur, 18 South Decatur East Lake, 19 River Line, 20 College Park and Amp, Hapville, 21 Stewart Avenue, 22 English Avenue, Soldiers Home, 23 Buckhead and Amp, Oglethorpe, 24 McDaniel Street. Source: a former interurban lines. Georgia Railway and Power Company ran lines on private rights of way from Atlanta to Marietta, the 16-mile Atlanta Northern Line, from 1905 to 1947. Hopewell and Stone Mountain, 16 miles, 1913 to 1947. College Park and Fairburn. Proposed streetcar lines. Peachtree, a much longer route along Peachtree Street, the city's main street. Originally, the line was to run from the Oakland City neighborhood through downtown Atlanta, Midtown and Buckhead. However, a more recent pared-down proposal would run between the Arts Center MARTA station in Midtown and the Five Points MARTA station downtown. In 2015, Buckhead business leaders and city council persons successfully had the portion of the long Peachtree Road from Piedmont Hospital to Lenox Mall removed from the long-range plan. Beltline routes. In July 2012, there was a referendum on a 1-cent sales tax to fund traffic and road improvements. If it had been approved, the tax would have funded several streetcar routes along portions of the Beltline Trail and connections onto MARTA stations and with the downtown Loop streetcar. The final list of projects to have been funded included two routes, Midtown to Northeast, from North Avenue, MARTA station east along North Avenue, to the Beltline, then north along Beltline to 10th and Monroe and south to Edgewood Street, and connection to the downtown streetcar at its eastern terminus. Downtown, Midtown to Southwest, branch from North Avenue Station to Lucky Street, branch from the western terminus of the downtown streetcar at Centennial Olympic Park, CNN to Lucky Street from Lucky Street, along North Avenue, Northside Drive, out Donald L. Hollowell Parkway to the Bankhead neighborhood, then south along the Beltline to Abernathy and Cascade in West End, Westview. The earlier proposal in March 2011 included two lines that did not make the final list for the July 2012 vote: Bankhead MARTA to Midtown, from Bankhead MARTA station north along the Beltline, then east along 17th Street past Atlantic Station to Arts Center MARTA station, Armour Yard to Midtown, from Armour Yard south along the Beltline, then west along North Avenue. Source: the proposal was defeated in the 10-county metro Atlanta region, as a region 63% against and 37% for. In Fulton and DeKalb counties the results were 52% against and 48% for. See Loop. In 2005, MARTA analyzed, in addition to the Beltline, the C-Loop linking Emory University, Lindbergh Center, Atlantic Station, Georgia Tech, the Georgia Dome, the AUC, Turner Field, Grant Park, and proceeding eastward along I-20 to South DeKalb Mall. The route originated from the efforts of Reps. John Lewis, Denise Majette and Cynthia McKinney, who obtained funding from the Department of Transportation for a $2 million feasibility study. The concept no longer appears in proposals from the various Georgia transportation authorities. However, the part of the route is now part of the Clifton Corridor initiative to build either MARTA rail, light rail, and/or bus rapid transit between Lindbergh and Emory and onto Avondale MARTA station. Northern Crescent. In June 2011, the Gwinnett, Cobb, and North Fulton Chambers of Commerce held a summit to promote light rail transit in the northern metropolitan area. It was especially remarkable in light of decades-long opposition to rapid transit in the area. Proposed routes would form A, W, and connect Kennesaw, Marietta and the Cumberland Edge City with the Arts Center MARTA station along I-75, Alpharetta with the Dunwoody MARTA station along Georgia 400, the Suwannee area in Gwinnett with the Doraville MARTA station, Doraville, Dunwoody, and the Cumberland area in an arc along the northern perimeter. Modern streetcar lines. The Atlanta streetcar, also known as the Downtown Loop, opened after 3 years of construction and 18 months of delays on December 30, 2014. The route runs 2.7 miles east-west from Centennial Olympic Park to the Martin Luther King, Jr. National Historic Site with tracks that converge at Woodruff Park. The line serves 12 stops.